Hello, friends. Today I wish to discuss with you on what the church teach and think about the sacraments, the what and the why, and to help us appreciate our community of faith, our church, our Catholic faith, especially in the times when we wonder why the sacrament can't be celebrated in particular ways, or when we begin to wonder about our faith. I hope that at the end of this chat with you, that your faith will be strengthened and you appreciate more the faith that you have as a Catholic. First of all, we'll begin with Augustine giving us the definition of what the sacrament says. He says the sacrament is an outward and the visible sign of an inward and invisible grace. And going further, the Catechism of the Catholic Church, number 1131, speaks of the sacraments as the efficacious signs of grace instituted by Christ, entrusted to the Church, by which divine life is dispensed to us. The visible rites by which the sacraments are celebrated signify and make present the graces proper to each sacrament. Here is beautiful to see the key things here. One is efficacious, which means it's efficient, it's real, it signifies what it says. And two, it is instituted by Christ. And we see also that it is handed on, given to the church to keep doing it. So it becomes the action of Christ and the celebration of the church. Going further to that definition given by the Catechism of the Catholic Church, we'll see also that through the sacraments, divine life is given to us. And the visible rites also that are celebrated in the sacrament signify and make present present the graces that are proper to each sacrament, which means each of the sacraments have graces that are proper to it. But all that sacraments are the action of Christ and celebration of the church. The Code of the Canon Law, number 840, tells us that the sacraments of the New Testament was instituted by Christ the Lord and entrusted to the Church as actions of Christ and the Church. They are signs and means which express, strengthen the faith, render worship to God, and effect the sanctification of humanity, and thus contribute in the greatest way to establish, strengthen, and manifest ecclesiastical communion. Here also more things come out to help us appreciate why the sacraments are the action of Christ and the church, in which we as members of the church are to see ourselves participating in an active way, convinced and meaningful way to the celebration of the sacraments that we are part of or we participate or partake of. Here we see that the sacraments instituted by Christ, of course, given to the church, is there to strengthen and express our faith. And it also helps us to render worship to God. And going further, it sanctifies us. It sanctifies us and contribute in a very real, concrete way, establishing, strengthening, and manifesting, expressing that communion that we all share. And here it's important to pause for a minute to think. For instance, the sacrament of the Eucharist. When we gather to celebrate the sacrament of the Eucharist, none of us come, families don't come to the Mass with their own chalices or ciborum or with their own host to be consecrated by the priest. No, we all share in that bond of unity in the sacrificial altar that the priest acting in the name of the church and as a person, altar Christus, another other Christ, acting in the name of the church, prepares this meal that is Christ himself. Through that means, the bond of unity, the communion that we share, made possible by our baptism in the life, death, and resurrection of Christ, become concrete and meaningful in that bond of communion and unity.